Hello and welcome to the Homeowner Prep Podcast. I'm your host, Hellon, and this podcast was created to provide real-world advice and accountability for first-time home buyers. We'll be interviewing industry experts, providing some how-tos, and talking with first-time home buyers about their personal experiences. If that sounds interesting to you, please be sure to subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the little bell to be notified when new episodes release. Now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome. Man, this podcast has been a long time coming. For the last couple of years, we've been really trying to put together the Homeowner Prep Podcast and reach out to more people, help more people. And if it wasn't for the folks that we have in our corners nowadays, man, it just would have never happened. So want to first give a shout out to our producer, Brandon. Want to give a shout out to Align Mortgage for letting us use the podcast studios. And this is the Homeowner Prep Podcast. This first episode is really just an intro, just to let you know who we are as an organization. We've been at this for a while. My name is Hellon. I've been a real estate agent since 2006. I've been helping first-time homeowners since I got in the business. First transaction was with the first-time homeowner. So I've seen it all, done it all, and I'm kind of the expert in that field. When I say expert, though, I don't want to come off as having all the answers. What I do is I surround myself with some of the best in the business. And on this podcast, we're going to be bringing some of those folks on with us to talk about the home ownership journey, the process, what it takes to buy your first home, but also what it takes to move on from that first home to start to get into real estate investing and things of that nature. So just want to welcome you, want to give our thanks and, give our flowers while we can. This episode is actually dedicated to David Shands. David Shands, if you don't know, runs a podcast called the Social Proof Podcast. And he did a lot of coaching, a lot of motivating for me to get out there and finally put this together. So definitely shout out to him. And it's also dedicated to my wife because she knows how much time and effort this has taken to get to this point and how much it's going to take going forward. So the Homeowner Prep Podcast is really about you. We want to come on here. We want to explain to you, the viewer, the listener, that buying a house isn't as hard as people make it out to be. It is a journey. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you, but it's a simple process. It may not always be easy, but it is a simple process of getting from where you are to where you want to be, which is buying your first place. So, what is Homeowner Prep exactly? Homeowner Prep was actually started as a program, something that we did for families who were honestly pushed aside. They were put on the back burner by lenders, by real estate agents who said, hey, you know what? You're not qualified to buy right now. And so, come back to us. Come back to us in a year or get your credit right and then come on back to us. And when I saw this happening in the industry, I knew it wasn't right. I knew that there had to be a better solution to help folks who really want to become homeowners. Maybe they're not ready yet, but how can we get them ready? And so this program has been part of our agency and something that we do. We don't take on a lot of families every year. We take on a few because that's who we can help. We know that it's a dedication of time, and we know that each family needs that time to see, what exactly is going on in their finances and their credit, and what exactly we need to do to put a plan into motion for them. And so that's really the basis and the history of this program. One of the things that we wanted to do with this podcast was reach out to more people. We've now put the infrastructure in place to where we have resources to provide. So no matter where you're at, no matter what you're going through, we can help you. And that was very important before we were to release the podcast. That makes us different from what you hear, what you see. It's not that, buying a home is rocket science. It's not. We all know what it takes to buy a home. But what makes us different is really adding in the side of accountability, making sure that we're with you every step of the way. And so with Homeowner Prep, we actually do work on month-to-month accountability, checking in, where are you at, how are things going, and following up on the plan that we've put into motion to make sure that you're on track. And so that's very, very important and vital to making sure that you get through the obstacles that are sure to come on your journey to buying your first home. A little background about me, like I mentioned, being in real estate since 2006, I've kind of seen it all. I've seen different things come up for different people. And one of the biggest things for me was finding purpose and handing keys to new home buyers. So I found that purpose back in '06 when I saw what was going on in the industry. I found that the most satisfaction that I have in my career is helping those who felt like there was no hope, helping those who felt like, I've been told that this was never going to happen. And then helping them get there and helping them get to the finish line. And not only getting to a finish line, but actually taking it a step further, realizing, hey, how does home ownership impact my family? How does it impact the generations to come and the financial legacy that I want to leave? If you don't know, homeowners are actually 44 times as wealthy as renters. So what does that mean? That means that they actually have something to pass down to their family. It means that they actually have the resources available to them to live the life that they want to live or that they've been called to live. And so when I got started in, helping people with their finances, it really started out in our local church. I was like, hey, you want to do a certain thing, or you've been called to go out on the missionary field, but yet your job or your finances are holding you back. You can't afford to leave your job for a month. You can't afford to go out and do the things that you even feel called to do. And so I say, well, what are the things that we need to put in place, whether it be savings or investing or, looking at other job opportunities, what we would now call side hustles. What are the things that we can do to make sure that you live up to the purpose and the calling that you have on your life? And so that's where I got started. Actually, I got trained through Crown Financial, if you know who Crown Financial is. I then moved on to Dave Ramsey's financial coaching training. Went through their master training as well, and really just worked one-on-one with families, helping them with their finances, getting their business expenses and systems in place so that they can go out and do the things that they want to do. And one of the chief aims of that process of helping people get their finances in order was really so that they can buy their first home, so they can get in the game. It's very, very important that you get in this game because you want to now shorten that window of time between being a renter and being a homeowner. You want to, minimize the wealth gap between renters and owners. And the only way that you do that is what you do in your household by doing what it takes to buy your first place. So that's really my passion and my background and why I got into this. We decided that a podcast was the next evolution of what we're doing. Like I mentioned, we were helping about 10 to 12 families a year through this program. It's very time intensive. It's going to be, hey, where's that accountability coming from? And so with that, we only had those 10 to 12 families that we could help. And the podcast gives us an opportunity to share the knowledge and the expertise that we have. And most importantly, share the circle of influence and the circle of experts that we've put together so that they can now reach more and more people, helping them. You can get your questions answered, through this podcast. So that way, exactly what's going on in your unique situation, and we can help you find the solutions to any problems or obstacles that you may be experiencing yourself. So that's why we decided to do this podcast. We're going to feature some guests on here that I believe in, people who have helped us and our first-time home buyers, folks who have a passion to help first-time home buyers. Again, being in this industry for so long, I saw a lot of people who were just going through the motions, who only wanted to help people who are ready to go. And I just don't believe in that. I believe that everybody deserves to become a homeowner. And so the folks that I bring on here have been vetted. They have gone through the ropes, kind of been in the trenches with me, and been helping families. And so that I'm very passionate about the people that we do bring on. We're going to be going through the process, no matter if it's a credit expert, if it's a lender, and we're asking questions based on, scenarios. We're going to really be walking through the process with you, answering the tough questions. And hopefully we'll be getting questions from you as we go about this through our, social media, or reaching out through the podcast somehow to say, hey, here's my situation. Here's what I'm going through. How can this person help me? And so hopefully our process will then go to these experts, these industry experts, to really get the answers that you're seeking. So we will be having featured guests. And most importantly, we're going to be featuring first-time home buyers. Folks who have been there, done that. We want to have people on here who have experienced what it's like to be a renter with no hope, what it's like to be going through the motions of the rent trap and not thinking that there's a way out. And I think that they're going to have some insights to share with you to help you. You know, we all experience different situations and circumstances, but there may be some common ground with the guests that we have on that are saying, hey, here's where I was and here's where I'm at now. You know, and so we hope that our featured guests, our featured first-time home buyers will come on and be able to share their knowledge and their hope with you so that you know that you can do it too. Here's how you can help. This podcast is an effort to reach out to touch more and more people. So we really want you, the listener, the viewer, to just share it with somebody that you know. Share it with somebody who's currently renting, who has a passion and a desire to become a homeowner. We all know folks in our circles, in our social circles, who, you know, have a goal to be a homeowner. We all have family members who may have some financial struggles and they don't know how they'll ever get there. And so we just want you to simply share it. Let people know that it is possible. Again, we're going to invest the time and the resources into putting this together and getting it out to the world. And if you take the time to just share it with somebody that you know, we'd appreciate it greatly. And then the other thing to that is, let us know how we can help you. Again, we're looking for questions from those who follow the podcast, those who follow us on social media. You know, what are the things that you're dealing with that we can help you with? What are the things that, you know, you've come up against, the obstacles that you face, so that we can help you get through that together. Obviously, with Homeowner Prep, if you reach out to us and say, I want to buy a house, here's what I'm going through, how do I get there? We're going to invest that time with you to make sure that you can get there. And if that's connecting you with the experts, connecting you with organizations and different programs that can, you know, really work with you and get you there, that's what we're going to do. So this podcast was created for you. This podcast is created for people who want to become homeowners, people who are homeowners, and those who help first-time homeowners. So we really hope that you get value from this podcast every single week. We hope to hear from you, get your feedback, get your reviews, get your questions, and really want to have a call to action for you to just take the first step. You can do it. The hope is there. You know, don't ever feel like it's not possible, because it is. We've helped many, many families who are in situations where they just felt like it was a dire situation they never get out of. And we want to give that hope and spread that hope and love back to you and to anyone that you know. To take that first step, you can always visit our website, homeownerprep.com. We do have a free ebook that's available to you. You can visit homeownerprep.com/ebook to download that today. And we really hope that this podcast is valuable to you and everybody that you know. So we thank you and we appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you next week. I hope you got some value from today's episode. If you know someone who could benefit from hearing this show, be sure to share it with them. And if you're listening to the podcast, we'd love for you to drop us a review. We'd also love to hear from you if you have any questions. So reach out to us on Instagram at Homeowner Prep. Who knows, we may read your review and answer your question on one of our future shows.